Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to go over the features of the heart and the circulation of the heart at the same time and try to give you some pointers as to how to remember these things and repeat the blood flow both looking externally and when we look internally. So we're going to go over this together. I'm going to try a color that isn't shown up on here. Try a green and see how that works. So blood flow is going to enter the heart here through the inferior vena cava and the superior vena cava. So the inferior vena cava was number 17. So inferior and superior is number 16. Both of these vessels are veins. Remember, veins are returning blood to the heart. So this is a vein and that's a vein. They're the largest veins in your body, by the way. One of them draining the lower portion of your body, the other draining the upper portion of your body. They are going to go into this holding chamber. Remember, atria means entryway, and it's a gathering area. So this is the right atrium, number 7. And from the right atrium, we're going to have the tricuspid valve open, which we'll show in the next visual, and we're going to go into the right ventricle. So the right ventricle is number 8, right ventricle. From there, once the right ventricle contracts, it's going to go into this vessel. Now, if a vessel is leaving the heart, it is an artery away. And sometimes that can add confusion because in textbooks, we often see that we color them red and blue for whether they're oxygenated or deoxygenated blood. And in this situation, this artery is actually carrying deoxygenated blood that came from the body. And so it is blue. So this is the pulmonary trunk, which branches off into the pulmonary arteries. So the right pulmonary artery is number 2, and the left pulmonary artery is number 9. These are leading to the lungs. So once we go to the lungs, we have the oxygen exchanged. Oxygen is diffusing into the red blood cell, carried by the hemoglobin, and carbon dioxide is diffusing out. So then, when we return to the heart, remember, arteries go away. So when we're returning to the heart, these are veins, even though they're red. So number 6 on the right-hand side is going to be the pulmonary veins. And number 3 on the left-hand side are going to be the left pulmonary veins. Those are entering the chamber here. So number 6, these right pulmonary veins are going to go behind the heart and enter into the left atrium. So that's number 15. And from the left atrium, we're going to get a valve opening. This is the mitral or bicuspid valve, and that's going to open, and the blood will be in number 10. That is going to be the left ventricle. Then, when the left ventricle contracts, blood is going to flow through into the largest artery of our body, the aorta, number 14. Then we have just a couple of external features that I want to draw your attention to. We talked about this one previously. This, I just went over it before I looked at the number. Number 13 is going to be the coronary artery. And remember again, the coronary artery is going to end up dumping back into the, the coronary artery is branching off of the aorta in order to feed the heart. And then the veins are going to dump it back into the atria, the right atria. And then apex, number 12, I just put an A there to remind myself that the apex is the pointed end of the heart. There's also a ligament right here that they've identified, ligament arteriosum. So it's just connecting these two arteries away. So one of the aorta has oxygenated blood, the pulmonary artery has deoxygenated blood, but they are both arteries. So that's number 11. All right, so now let's go to the second one where we look at the inside features. And I will do the same thing. We will go through and we have the inferior and the superior vena cava. So the superior is number 1 and the inferior is number 23. And they are dumping into the right atria. So that is number 17. And you can see these holes are where the coronary veins are dumping blood back in. Then once this atria has become full, gathering place, then we're going to have this valve opening, and that valve is the tricuspid. Try to be right. So it's on the right-hand side. A cusp are these things. So this is the bicuspid or mitral valve. Tricuspid, you're not seeing all of them because it's cut open, but it's just, this is the cusp. So number 11, the tricuspid valve. Then when the heart pumps, the valve is going to be stabilized by number 14. 14 is chordae, like a cord, tendonae. It's a tendon cord that prevents the valve from like going backwards into the atria. So that number was 14. Then from there, we are in the right ventricle, 24. And when the right ventricle contracts, we're going to go past number 15. Now what I want you to notice here is the shape of these. These are called the semilunar valves. This one is the pulmonary semilunar valve. Pulmonary semilunar valve, I just covered up the number, is 15. And it's shaped like a half moon because it forms a little cup here. So that cup, when the heart contracts, it's going to be pushed open. So those cups will fold out like this. And then when the heart relaxes, because of gravity, those cups are going to become full and the blood is going to settle in there. And then when the heart contracts, they're going to open up again. And then when they settle, they'll fill again. So the blood is going to enter the pulmonary trunk. So that's 21. Again, the pulmonary trunk goes into the right pulmonary artery away. So that's number 9. And the left pulmonary artery away. So that's number 5. Left pulmonary artery. Then, after the blood is exchanged, oxygen and carbon dioxide, it's going to come back through the pulmonary veins. Pulmonary for lung, veins because it's returning into the heart. So that's number 3 for the left pulmonary veins, and it's number 10 for the right pulmonary veins. Then, once it returns, it's going, the right pulmonary veins are traveling behind the heart and emptying in here, as are the left pulmonary veins. This is the left atria. There we go, 6. My brain did not see it. Then we're going to go past this bicuspid or mitral valve. That's number 2. And we are in this chamber. Oh, sorry. Chordae tendonae, you can see it right here, are attached to these muscles. These muscles are called papillary muscles. The papillary muscle, papillae means bump. So your tongue, your taste buds, oral papillae. Your nipples, mammary papillae. In your heart, These are papillary muscles. They're bumps. They're attaching to the chordae tendineae. This chamber is number 18. That is the left ventricle. And then we are going to go through the aortic semilunar valve. It's hard to see here, but that's shaped the same way as the pulmonary semilunar valves. And so, again, I wrote on it before I looked at the number, 19. And that's leading us into number 4, the aorta. Oops. There we go. And so we have the apex left. That's number 25. And we have the myocardium, which is number 8. Actually, all of this is myocardium. That's muscle. And where's my septum? I guess I didn't write it on here, unless I'm losing my mind. This is the septum. And what the septum does is it separates the right from the left ventricle, but it's very muscular because this is going to, when the muscle contracts, it is also contracting. So it's condensing that container, and so then the blood will flow. All right, so that is your explanation for the blood flowing through the heart. This is in your notes. This is just the diagram showing that blood flow. So I just went through that with you. And this also is showing the same thing. So you can look at that. I want to talk just about the valves, and then we'll be done for the day. So the valves, let me switch my camera, so I can see you. Actually, I'm just joking, so you can see me. The valves are function in kind of different ways. This one is what I was talking about with the semilunar valves. So we're not going to worry about the sounds right now. I just want you to see what's happening here. So as the ventricles contract, the inside ventricle pressure rises and blood is pushed up, forcing those valves open. And then when the ventricles relax, the pressure has fallen, and in addition to that, we have gravity, which is causing blood to shut those valves. So that's how the semilunar valves work. So it's both pulmonary semilunar and the aortic semilunar. How the AV valves work is that the AV valves are going to close when the ventricles contract because blood is forcing up against them. So here you can see the papillary muscle holding on to the chordae tendineae, which is attached to the valves. And what that's doing is preventing the valves from just moving back into the atria. So that is going to be the function of the AV valves. And then when the ventricles are relaxed, then that valve can open because it's not being forced shut by the blood from the ventricle, and then the atria can drain into the ventricle. So that is the function of the valves. So tomorrow I will show you the dissected heart, and I will give you some practice on this, some practice questions, and we'll go from there. So that's it for today. Thank you.